Hi everyone, this is just a quick update video on the latest Galaxy S20 series software update, which is supposed to have brought bug fixes and camera improvements. This video will serve as an update to my full S20 Ultra and S20 Plus review, in which we discuss the various camera issues that the phones are suffering from, so check that out if you haven't already seen it, it's linked below the like button. There have been some reports that the cameras are still just as bad, whilst others say that all of the issues have been completely fixed, so in the video we'll see exactly what has changed and what issues still remain. Let's get into it. First of all, if we look at the S20 Plus running the previous version of the software, the autofocus is pretty fast, and there generally weren't many problems with this phone to begin with. After the update, it's a little faster, but there isn't a huge difference in performance, so those with an S20 or S20 Plus may not notice any changes. The main difference I noticed is that the phone is now faster to find focus when you're moving the camera, whereas before, the camera would only snap to focus a second or two after you stopped moving the phone. So what issues remain with the S20 and Plus models? Well, I still run into the occasional issue where the autofocus would freeze, and I'd have to restart the camera app or switch to a different camera mode to reset it. You may also still find some problems with focusing in low light, and the autofocus would sometimes select something in the background instead of the subject. But even with tap to focus, you can still run into some issues. In general, the S20 and S20 Plus will sometimes require you to use tap to focus, and have a little patience with its autofocus. But most of the time, the cameras are great. The S20 Ultra, though, still suffers from most of the same problems as before. You can see that it's slower than the S20 Plus at finding focus, which we expected, but it also still has a problem locking focus at all. The update has improved this to be a little faster than before, and we also less frequently have the issue where it continually hunts for focus. But this problem definitely still occurs, even in good lighting, so the update hasn't completely fixed things. Most of the time, the autofocus was just slower, but would eventually lock focus, and sometimes you won't notice any problems at all, but there is a clear difference from the S20 Plus. Video struggles more than photo mode, which is a problem, and as I said in the full review, you're still going to want to stick to 4K rather than 8K, the latter of which is not only poorer quality, but also pretty pointless to film in right now. If you're filming distant subjects in good light, you might be okay, but you can see it really struggles with focusing on close-up subjects. As for the poor image quality at 100x zoom, or the shallow focus plane with the 108MP photo mode, these are both things that are limited by the hardware. So although they can be improved, they're not things that will be fixed by software. It's really just the camera bugs that Samsung have tried to correct with this latest software patch. The S20 and S20 Plus really benefit from having dual pixel autofocus compared to the older phase detection autofocus found in the S20 Ultra. Last year's S10 and Note 10 series also use dual pixel AF, and don't suffer from the issues that the S20 Ultra does, so I don't expect that Samsung will ever fix these problems fully through software. It was either not possible or too expensive for Samsung to include dual pixel autofocus with the Ultra's huge 108MP main sensor, and the phone does suffer as a result. So does this make the S20 Ultra's camera completely unusable? No, not at all. You just need to be a lot more patient than you would with the S20 or S20 Plus. You'll have to accept that the autofocus is going to be much slower, and you may need to rely on tap to focus rather than autofocus to make sure you get a sharp image. What I said in the full review remains true. The camera issues let down the S20 Ultra, and also that the S20 and S20 Plus both have better cameras. But if you're really into zoom photography, then the Ultra may be worth the compromises. The latest update should now be available on all devices, but let me know in the comment section if you're still waiting. If you have the update already, then do you think the bugs are now fixed, or are you still experiencing some problems? It would be good to hear from you guys too, especially those from different regions and with different versions of the phones. For now, we'll wait and see what refinements future updates bring to the cameras, but hopefully this quick update has been useful for you. Fire over any questions you may have on Instagram and Twitter. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.